morning students. I hope you all are good and safe with your families, and I am well sure that you all are listening the videos carefully and completing the assignments. Before starting the new topic, let me revise the topics which I have taught you in your previous online class, as they were related to the artist and the craft. The art and the craft we had learned in our previous online class. It was categorized into different parts like the art of sculpture. It was described in 3 subcategories. The first one was sculpture in the metal. The second one was sculpture in stone. Then third one was sculpture in the terracotta. You have learned about the art of carving, the art of painting, the art of pottery, the art of spinning, metal craft, the art of writing. Afterwards, you have learned about the importance of seals. I hope you have remembered the importance of seals, in which the animal seal, the unicorn seal and Shiva Pashupati seals were very important. And you have learned about the valuable information and sources we get from the seals. So, it describes about the culture of the Harappan Civilization, as they throw light on their religious belief, commercial activities, remarkable skill of the artist, dressing sense, ornaments, hairstyle and the animals they use. So in this way we had revised our previous topics. So today I will continue with the same chapter. First, the Harappan Civilization, starting with the topic, the religious belief. Do you know, children, about the religious belief of the Harappan Civilization? As I have already told you about the seals, and seals give us big information about their religious belief. So some of the objects which were found at the ruins of the city of Mohenjo-daro help us to know about the religious faith and belief of the Indus people, as the Indus people worship nature in the form of the animals. So in which form they used to worship nature? In the form of the animals, birds and trees. For example, the humped bull, which I have explained to you earlier, the humped bull, the dove and the peepal tree were held sacred. A mother goddess was also worshipped. Mother goddess, which was made up of terracotta. So the mother goddess was also worshipped. Seals bearing the 3-headed figure of a male god have been found. Okay. This is also a male god. Okay, it is 3-headed figure. Some of them depict the god in the yogic posture. Some of them were in the sitting of a yogic posture and surrounded by animals. Shiva or Pashupati worshipped today is probably a later adaptation of this male god. So Shiva and Pashupati, which today people are worshipping, okay, in Hindu mythology, Hindu religion, people are worshipping Shiva and Pashupati. So it probably a later adaptation of this male god. There are no temple structures among the remains. So they don't believe in the temples, they believe in the nature worship. Some scholars believed that the great bath at Mohenjo-daro was used during religious ceremonies. So some scholars also believe that the Mohenjo-daro was also used for the religious ceremonies. The Indus people believed in life after death. They believe that there is life after death. They buried their dead often in huge burial urns, along with food, ornaments and the articles used by them in their daily life. Now let me describe you the 3 important deities. Okay, the first one was the worship of the mother goddess. Second one was the worship of Shiva Pashupati, and third is related to worship of trees and animals. Let me describe it in different categories. Okay, the first one is the worship of the mother goddess. Worship of a female deity identified as the mother goddess, as I have already explained you earlier, was prevalent among the people. Many terracotta figures and seals of this goddess have been brought to light. So many other figures have also been brought to light. The discovery of semi-nude female figures wearing elaborate headdresses. So what they are wearing on the head? They are wearing a very elaborate dresses on the head. So head is full covered with different styles and ornaments, led to the belief that people worship the mother goddess. That this identify this, that people worship the mother goddess. Now second deity was the Shiva and Pashupati, worship of Shiva and Pashupati. The remarkable figure of a male deity which have been depicted on a particular seal. You have already learned that this figure was found on the seal is identified as Lord Shiva. The three-faced figure with horns on either sides. Three-faced figure means which has three faced on three sides and which has horns on both the sides of the head. His headdress is seated in a yogic posture. In which way he is sitting? He is sitting in a yogic posture on a throne surrounded by the different animals. Many scholars identify the figure as that of Lord Shiva. Okay, today people worship Lord Shiva, so many scholars identify that this deity is same as the Lord Shiva, who is described as the Trimukha, Mahayogi and Pashupati. Now, next is the worship of trees and animals. The designs on certain religious seals show that the people had faith in the doctrine of animals. Okay, because seals describes us about this. Different designs were found on the seals related to the animals. So it describes that people have faith, they have belief on the animals, which means that they worship trees and animals. The figure of a deity with a hooded cobra over its head. Okay, one figure was found with a hooded cobra over its head and a worshipper on either sides signifies that some form of Naga worship was practiced. So it shows that some form of Naga worship was practiced. It is interesting to note that some of these animals still figure as the vehicles of the Hindu deities, right? It is telling by this seal that some figures as the vehicles of the Hindu deities. For example, the bull of Shiva, the lion of the Durga, the ram of the Brahma, the elephant of the Indra and the wild bear of the Gauri. So these are the vehicles of the different deities. So now children, let me tell you the decline reasons of the Harappan civilization. After learning the different things or the different activities, different religious beliefs, different art and craft of the Harappan civilization, we will come to know that this civilization was declined also. So, the Indus Valley civilization lasted from 2500 BC to 1500 BC approximately. The Mohenjo-daro excavation reveals that the city was destroyed over and over again and was rebuilt at the same site 9 times. Okay, it was described by the archaeologist that this city was destroyed over and over again and it was rebuilt at the same time 9 times. Right? The exact causes of the decline of this great civilization are not known. Okay, exact causes were not known, exact causes were not clear. But it suggested that the city might have been destroyed by the natural disasters. It was destroyed by the natural disasters like earthquake, flood or change in the course of the Indus River. So let me describe you about the earthquake. Okay, how the earthquake has destroyed the Indus Valley civilization. So, some scholars have shown that the Indus areas lies in a disturbed seismic zone. What is the seismic zone? In seismology, a seismic zone is an area of seismicity potentially sharing a common cause. It may also be region on a map of which a common areal rate of seismicity is assumed for the purpose of calculating probabilistic ground motion. Okay, it is a ground motion. So maybe it was described that maybe the Harappan civilization or the Indus area lies in the disturbed seismic zone. Earthquakes might have been raised the plains of the lower Indus River that led to the submerge of cities like Mohenjo-daro. Now, next is the flood. The second point describes you about the flood. How the flood destroyed the Harappan civilization. Others says that it might have been destroyed by the flood which did occur periodically. Time to time wise it occurs and it destroyed the civilization. Harappa, however, had not yielded any evidence of the flooding. But Harappa, they don't have any evidence of the flooding. This theory cannot explain why sites located outside the Indus system declined. So this theory was not suited to the decline reason. Now, next is the change in the course of the river. Some other writers suggest that the river Indus might have changed its course, submerging the cities. Okay, it might have because of the change of the course in the river, the Indus city or the Indus plain area was submerging the cities. Then the next point describes about an invasion. More time-wheelers believed that an Aryan invasion might have brought about the destruction of the civilization. Whose invasions? The Aryan invasions might have brought about the destruction in the civilization. He pointed out that there was an evidence of a massacre. Okay, there was an evidence of a massacre because some 13 skeletons were found lying on the street. So it is one evidence. But some archaeologists said that the presence of a few skeletons cannot justify Wheeler's belief of Indus civilization being destroyed by the Aryan invaders. It cannot justify this, that only the 13 skeletons which were found on the street shows that it was destroyed by the Aryan invaders. Now, next point describes about the ecological crisis caused by the deforestation. Ecological crisis. Growing population needed enormous quantity of wood. Why they need wood? Why it is required more? To produce jewelry, to bake pottery and bricks, and to make boats and furniture. So these things were required, so that is why they want more and more wood. This led to deforestation. For example, millions of trees were cut down or destroyed. Okay, so because of this, millions of trees were cut down. With forests removed, there were floods and droughts. According to some writers, such as an ecological crisis led to the collapse of the Harappan urban culture. So in this way we had learned about the decline reasons of the Harappan civilization. So the first point is related to the earthquake, second is the flood, third is a change in the course of the river, fourth is an invasion, and fifth one is ecological crisis caused by the deforestation. Do you know, children, about the Mesopotamian civilization? So here we are going to study about the Mesopotamian civilization. So one of the suggested assignment for the internal assessment required students to make a comparative study of the Harappan and the Mesopotamian civilization. Therefore, it would prove worthwhile if we gave here a brief account of the Mesopotamian civilization as well. So it is a land between the rivers Tigris and Euphrates, now in Iraq and in Iran. was known as the Mesopotamia. The meaning of the word is land between the rivers. What is the meaning of the word of Mesopotamia? Land between the rivers. Mesopotamia included three regions: Sumer, Akkad and Assyria. Around 3000 BC, some of the towns of Sumer emerged as powerful city-states. They are independent states, each consisting of a city and the area around it. The Sumer became the seat of the earliest civilization in the world. So, the word Mesopotamia means the region between the two rivers. As I've already told you, it is the region between the two rivers. Mesopotamia corresponds to the present day in Iraq and parts of the Iran. I have told you earlier also. Then, in the Tigris and Euphrates basin, the wandering tribes had settled thousands of years ago. Thousands of years means 3000 years ago, because of food, water and the building material like clay, which they use for their building material, were available in the sufficient quantity in this region. The southernmost part of Mesopotamia was called the Sumer. The region situated a few kilometers away from Sumer was called the Babylonia and the Akkad. The mountainous areas of the Assyria was situated far to the north of the Babylonia. So this is the place of the Mesopotamia. Now the next topic describes about the Mesopotamia, about they are higher standard of civic amenities. Okay, Harappan people had a higher standard of civic amenities. The Mesopotamian civilization was urban in character. The civilization of the Babylonia and Assyria was likewise urban in character. But the Harappan people enjoyed a higher standard of civic amenities than those of the Mesopotamia. Okay, this is a comparative study between the Harappan and the Mesopotamian culture. So you can see here the Harappan people enjoyed a higher standard of civic amenities than in those of the Mesopotamia. One more important thing is there, that the Great Bath of the Mohenjo-daro and also its many houses with their own water supply, bathrooms and excellent drainage system all go to say that the masses enjoys a degree of comfort and luxury unknown in other parts of the civilized world. Means it shows, the Great Bath shows that they enjoyed the degree of comfort and luxury which cannot be compared in other parts of the civilized world. Now next is we will see the comparative study on the monumental architecture. The monumental architecture, the Mesopotamian architecture was very aristocratic and monumental. It was marked by magnificent palaces, temples and tombs of the kings. Okay, magnificent places, magnificent palaces, temples and tombs of the king. The Harappan architecture was not that monumental. So the Harappan architecture was little bit inferior in comparison to the Mesopotamian architecture as that of the Assyrians. So in this way, this is a brief study related to the Mesopotamian civilization. This is only required in your chapter. So please listen the video carefully. Do all the assignments. Right now I am going to give you few questions related to these topics. Listen it carefully and do it in your history register. Thank you and take care.